Hello, and thank you so much for joining me today on the Community Ledger. I had to jump in today because we have got to talk about what is happening with all of these drones. Okay, I don't know what is going on, and the government is being very elusive with regards to what they know. But I want to jump in because I want you to see what the news is talking about and get your opinion. So let's take a look.
For more on these still unexplained drone sightings, let's bring in retired U.S. Army Colonel Joe Bacino. Joe, you were a spokesman for CENTCOM, right? I mean, if the military was somehow involved in flying these drones, shouldn't somebody come out and say so?
Somebody should say so. I think right now what you're seeing coming out of the Department of Defense is just not believable. There's two statements coming out of the Pentagon. One, we have no idea what these things are, and two, these things are not a threat. Okay, those two statements are in conflict with one another. If you know they're not a threat, then you know what they are.
Right, and you know, in these days when the Ukrainians and others have honed the ability to arm drones, to use high explosives on drones, the fact that these things are just flying willy-nilly around military bases in this country is not very comforting.
No, it's not. And if you think about, John, U.S. Northern Command, they're based in Colorado. This is the American command responsible for securing American airspace. They have AI-based intercept. They have observation based on commercial satellites all over the country. They have a $12 billion air defense system over the country. I just don't believe that they don't know what's flying for weeks and weeks over American airspace, over residential areas, over the Picatinny Arsenal, which is an American military research lab in New Jersey.
Yeah, it was disturbing enough when that Chinese spy balloon was, floating over our country for a week or so. But these are even more sophisticated and probably more troublesome, just because, we heard one New Jersey senator say that New Jersey sent one of its choppers after the thing, and it turned off its lights and disappeared. That doesn't sound like it's operated by somebody friendly.
Right. It's clear here that the Pentagon has some information, and I think maybe we just keep in mind here that this is the same Pentagon that back in January lied about the location and condition of the U.S. Secretary of Defense, that lied about the conditions on the ground in Ukraine, that lied about this Chinese spy balloon for about a week. So I think that we can't really be comfortable with the information we're receiving here. I think, in my mind, it is unlikely that this is coming from overseas. I think given the size of these drones and given the likelihood that these are piloted by line of sight, it may be piloted from the water, but I don't think this is coming from hundreds of miles away. I just don't think drones of this size could come from hundreds of miles away because it's probably also powered by lithium batteries. I think this is coming somewhere close to the New Jersey, somewhere close to the coast.
The governor of New York has taken notice. This all started with ordinary citizens getting a little upset at what they were seeing, but now the governor has taken notice. Kathy Hochul put out a statement saying, "This has gone too far. I'm calling on Congress to pass the Counter-UAS Authority Security, Safety, and Reauthorization Act. This bill would reform legal authorities to counter UAS and strengthen the FAA's oversight of drones, and would extend counter UAS activities to select state and local law enforcement agencies. The Biden administration must step in by directing additional federal law enforcement to New York and the surrounding region to ensure the safety of our critical infrastructure and our people." It's kind of interesting when, the governor of one of the most largest, most populous states in the country is kind of prodding the Biden administration to get involved here.
Right. Yeah, there's also things that we can do. We can jam these. We can bring these things down. We can use electronic means to jam these things. We can control the airspace. We can use electronic means via commercial satellites. We can use our AI-based targeting. So there's a range of options that we have here. And I just think we need to know why they're not being employed.
Well, and you suggest that the Pentagon knows more than it's letting on.
I really do. I really do. I just, it's not believable that we have no idea. That doesn't, given everything we have flying, everything that we have up in the air in terms of commercial satellites, observation platforms, our own aircraft, our own radar detection, it's just not believable that we don't know. It's not, and this Pentagon has demonstrated that it is not to be believed on really critical issues. So I just think, where there's an absence of information, where there's a void of information, I think conspiracy will fill that and fear will fill that. Just tell the American people what's going on. What information do you have?
Good advice from a former Army spokesman.
So there you have it. It is very weird. I mean, I have seen so many videos, so many reports about these drones. I mean, as much as like 50 in the air coming off the water. So this is what's crazy. It's in Nevada, California. I've even heard some sightings in Alabama. It's predominantly on the East Coast though, Jersey, New York, Connecticut. And what everyone is saying is that these things are coming off the water. Now, this gentleman here who is, I'm assuming, a government official or used to be in the Army or whatever, is stating that we can do something to bring them down. However, they've already said that there have been people who have tried to do that already. And I think he stated at the very beginning of this video, someone tried to intercept these drones and it disabled all of his lights, disabled all of the power on whatever mechanism they use to bring these drones down. And so the government is being incredibly elusive. They're claiming they don't know what it is, but there's no cause for concern. But like you said, that's a contradiction. How do you have all of this activity in the air and yet say it's no real cause of concern, but we don't have any clue what it is? Well, if you don't have any clue what it is, then how do you know there's no cause for concern? So you either know where this is coming from, it's government or it's people, and it's some sort of military operation that you guys are aware of and just don't want to tell us about. But then just say that. Just say, listen, this is high classified information. This is a part of our government, we're researching, we're running, some sort of, I don't know, experiment. But it's all very much under control, and we don't mean to harm anyone. It's all just, high profile, secretive stuff, but that we can't speak about, but there's no real cause for concern. But they're not even saying that. They're like, we don't have a clue what this is, but don't worry about it. And that's not going to work. That's not going to work. They're saying these drones are like the size of a car. Like, how do you have drones the size of like a car, an SUV, like a massive, in the air, coming off the ocean, 50 at a time, and it's no cause for concern? That is insane. That's crazy. And so, I don't even know what to make of it, because I'm like, okay, does the government really know what's going on, but they don't want us to be concerned because this is extraterrestrial? Is this like literally an alien invasion and they are aware of it? They're in communication with these extraterrestrials, so they know that they don't actually mean to cause harm to citizens, but they can't tell us that because they don't want to cause mass hysteria. What the hell is going on? You know what I'm saying? Or is this some sort of they're trying to test us and they've got all this crap in the air to see how we react to it, and it's an experiment, but they of course don't want to tell us. What the hell is going on? What is going on? I'm not comfortable with any of it. If it's the government who's saying we're trying to do something, this is an experiment, there's no cause for concern, this is military testing, well, they'll say that. But the fact that they don't want to say that is concerning, right? Because it's like, what are you hiding? Why do you not want us to know what you're planning or what you're testing? So that's a concern. But then you have this other aspect of it was okay, these are an alien invasion, and you don't want us to know that either. But and then I would say, okay, well, the government should tell us that so that we could be prepared. But can you really be prepared for an alien invasion? Like, what the hell? Like, what the hell? And I don't even know what to make of it. Like, I don't even know, and I've been hearing a lot of people on social media talk about, and a lot of government officials talking about, extraterrestrials, and how the year 2025, there's going to be a lot of activity in terms of creatures or aliens or whatever visiting Earth. And we're going to start seeing a whole lot more activity. I've also seen a lot of documentaries when people on Earth in different countries start talking about nuclear weapons. You will start seeing a lot of activity because, when people, man specifically, gets on Earth trying to utilize these weapons of war and use all of these toxic chemicals, other creatures out in the ethers come out and be like, listen, y'all need to shut that down. Y'all don't realize that when y'all start blowing up stuff on Earth, that vibrates out into the universe, so we can't have that happening. So they will come down. They will come down and hover over these nuclear plants and shut that shit down. Like, I've heard of that happening. And I know you guys are watching like, this woman is crazy, but seriously. Supposedly, okay, that whatever's out there in the universe will come down and be like, I hear y'all talking about nuclear weapons. I see that y'all are working on stuff, and we coming to shut it down. Y'all not about to do none of that because it's gonna mess up the equilibrium of the universe, and we gotta live out here too. So, and listen, Putin out in Russia has been talking about nuclear weapons. Biden just allowed Ukraine to fly deeper into Russia, to push bombs deeper into Russia. I mean, it's a lot going on. You got all this stuff going on in Syria and the fall of Assad regime. It's a lot going on. I mean, it's a lot going on. And I'm like, have these extraterrestrials come down to say, listen, you humans are out of control, and we're gonna have to come stop some of this shit. And I ain't mad at it. I know that sounds crazy, but if they have the technology, which we know their technology is way more superior than what we got going on Earth, okay? So if they come down and say, listen, we need to come down, and we need to stop all this craziness. We just gonna do it from the sky. We're gonna shut down all their plants. We're gonna shut down all their nuclear weapons. They think they gonna press the button, but we gonna go ahead and disable all of this because these humans have gotten out of control. Listen, if they saving lives and they gonna save planet Earth, then I'm with it. As long as they stay up there. As long as they stay up there, I don't want to see them. I don't want them coming up. I don't want them coming out the ship. I don't want them walking the streets. Like, just come here, quietly do what you need to do, and then take back off into the ethers. Like, because, sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, man has a tendency to get beside himself, and then they want to see who's bigger than the next, and everybody's threatening weapons of war, and then all these innocent lives get ruined just because this person wants to prove a point. And we all know Biden is tripping right now. Like, he's tripping. Like, this Democratic loss has sent him in a tailspin, and he's trying to do all kind of craziness on his way out. And so and Putin's pissed, and there's a lot going on. So this may be what we're seeing. And I am very aware that this sounds really crazy. I'm thoroughly aware that this sounds crazy, but not impossible. Not impossible, okay? It is possible that some folks that, live out there in space is coming in here to interrupt some things. And like I said, listen, I'm going to tell you this. I am born in Nevada, okay? And so I am very aware of Area 51 and all that surrounds that. I grew up in high school with people's family members who worked at the test site, and it is very real, okay? You drop them off On Monday, you don't pick them up again until Friday. And the family don't know nothing. All they know is they pick their daddy up and drop their daddy off. You can't ask the family no questions about nothing, and he's not going to tell you about nothing, okay? So I don't know if they threaten these people's lives. I don't know if they got a chip in them, but it's a real thing. It's a real thing. It's not just like a documentary. Like, it's a real thing. So what goes on at that test site, you can only speculate. My whole life, I've heard all kind of stories. I've seen all kind of things in these skies. So, and, you know, I'm just saying, I am not, the idea that we are not the only ones floating out in this universe is not beyond my comprehension. I just don't want none of them coming to holler at me, okay? I just, like, if they gonna come here and they gonna shut nuclear weapons down so that a whole lot of people don't get hurt, I'm okay with it. Just try not to hurt nobody. I don't need this to look like Armageddon. I don't need this to be Independence Day. I don't want this to look like a movie. I just want you to quietly hover over hover over these cities, hover over that military base. Now, don't let that get past you. Don't forget, he did say in Jersey that there is a huge Air Force base that all these people, like all of these drones or whatever this is in the sky, is like hovering over. They are concentrated in this Jersey area. So something going on in Jersey, okay? Something is going on around that area. And they're coming out the water like, what? At first when I started hearing the story, I was like, okay, it's somebody on land playing with drones, but they were so big. They're massive. So I'm like, there's no way somebody is manning a drone that is the size of a vehicle, and 50 of them at a time coming off the water. This is crazy. And then people are trying to intercept them, trying to shoot them down, and it's not happening. Oh yeah. So I'm gonna just go out here and say, I'm just say it. I think I'm gonna just say, I think this is some extraterrestrial stuff. And, you know, the government just don't want to say it. I think the government is very aware. I think the government is in communication with who is in control of these things. And thus they know that they don't intend to harm citizens. However, the government, you know, is like, listen, they in communication right now. Okay, they negotiating whatever they negotiating, and then these things gonna have to take off. I think that's what's happening. And again, I know this sounds crazy, but we already know the White House, the Pentagon, all of these people have already come out and confirmed that extraterrestrials and unidentified flying objects do exist. Okay, they have recognized that there is intelligence outside of Earth happening. Okay, and that they have been in communications with otherworldly things. Okay, so we know that these are facts. These are facts. But I think that the common man, you know, the thought of all of that is a bit much, and I don't think that they want to make people just like lose their minds. And so they're telling people, listen, there's nothing to be concerned with. We got it under control. Everything gonna be all right. But I think that the government is in communication with these extraterrestrials, and I think that it has something to do with all this nuclear talk and all this World War III talk. Because you got to remember, like, when you talk about nuclear weapons, that doesn't just destroy lives. Like, that destroys the ground, the earth, the trees, the water, the air. Like, it is intense. Like, you know, stuff can't grow for decades. You know what I'm saying? It has a serious impact on everything. And like I said, just based on previous documentaries that I've seen, when these type of things, these type of chemicals, this type of warfare happens, it does reverberate out into the universe and messes up the alignment of things far beyond, you know, what we're privy to and what we are exposed to on a regular basis. And, you know, like I said, based on some documentaries I've seen, that them aliens be out there like, listen, y'all gonna have to cut that shit out down there. Like, y'all getting out of hand. And so, that may be what's happening. So, like I said, I typically don't want to delve into conspiracy theories and aliens and all of this, but this life we live is layered. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am not one of those people who feel like it's only humans, this is it. Like, no, like, I believe it's all kind of creatures out in space. It's all kind of creatures from the spiritual realm that's moving back and forth. Listen, I done seen some things. Okay, I have lived. Okay, it's plenty of stories about crazy shit that I have experienced, and maybe someday I will go into that. But I wouldn't be surprised. I definitely would not be surprised, as the government is well aware that, listen, these aliens coming out here and they trying to let us know they are here, and they not gonna let us just tear up shit down here. But they just don't want to tell the public of what's going on. But nonetheless, I would love to get your opinion, and I just want to hear what you guys think this is. Or do you really believe these are like 15-year-old kids just playing with drones all over the United States? Or do you think it's something a little bit more profound? So if you have not already, please do subscribe. I love having these conversations and these interactions with you. I love reading the comments. So again, thank you so much for joining. Again, my name is Andrea, and this is the Community Ledger.